Off the east coast of Australia, not far from Sydney, is the setting for a dramatic modern-day detective story about one of the great mysteries of the Second World War. The hunt for the warrior follows two former enemies, an Australian army gunner and a Japanese torpedo boat captain, who mount a search for a Japanese spy plane which haunted Sydney during the darkest hours of the Pacific War.
But nobody really thought that a Japanese aeroplane could come down as far as Sydney. And the only way they did that, of course, was by launching them off submarines.
The seaplane pilot's mission was audacious: to set up a midget submarine attack on US naval ships in Sydney Harbour. If the plan succeeded, it would sever the lifeline between the United States and Australia. The daring suicide attack failed, but has since become etched in military folklore.
In Sydney Harbour, Australians inspect a Japanese submarine that ventured too far from home.
Two of the three midget submarines were recovered, but 60 years on, the fate of the spy plane that spearheaded the mission remains a mystery. For Michael Kazuki and Philip Dulhunty, it's high time the mystery is solved.
We decided to fly up to the Central Coast following the same flight plan as Captain Ito had nearly 60 years ago.
Drawing on eyewitness accounts and military documents, they attempt to piece together the plane's last hours and determine where it's believed to have crashed into the sea.
You can see how rough it is today. I would imagine that after 50 years it would be almost impossible that we could find it. I'd prepare to bet you $50 that we don't find anything.
Okay, I will take a bet.
We journey to Japan with Kazuki and Dulhunty to investigate the mission and the fate of the seaplane pilot. They discover extraordinary information about the extent of Japanese naval operations in Australia, much of which until now has been veiled in secrecy. They also investigate the human story of bravery and sacrifice.
This was Sydney.
How the young pilot and submariners were indoctrinated in the samurai and Bushido traditions of warriorhood and had sailed for Australia with a determination not to return alive. But then comes a breakthrough. They find that the pilot of the spy plane, Captain Ito, did miraculously survive. He supplies important details about the mission and the possible whereabouts of his float plane.
He tried to land alongside the submarine and crashed. He then swam to the submarine with all the information that he'd sketched so that they could then launch the submarine attack the next night. But they tried to get rid of the aeroplane because it was in fact a spy plane. It didn't have Japanese markings on it. So they finally sank the seaplane some 30 miles away from Sydney.
Back in Australia, the hunt for the warrior joins a dive team especially assembled to search for the relics of the plane.
We had such a large area to search. We had reservations as to whether we would actually find anything doing it this way. So Bob came up with the idea of a search grid. This entailed laying out ropes secured in the corners by pegs into a square section. We would then search each section and move on to the next one, making sure we didn't miss anything.
After 6 decades, they know it will be like finding a needle in a haystack. What remains of the aircraft, if anything, would more than likely be covered in sand and hidden from view.
And it looks like we found one of the cylinders.
But perseverance pays off. They discover what appears to be part of a plane's engine.
My God, look at it. Look at that, Richard. It's a beauty. Oh my God, there's a lot of growth and stuff in it, but it's obviously one of the 9 cylinders from the engine.
The hunt for the Warrior follows every dramatic turn as weather and currents threaten the search for more of the engine.
We'd abandoned the grid search due to the increasing surge. I moved my way across a rock ledge, and underneath I found what I believed was a brass or copper magneto. This part of the aircraft must have been pushed under the ledge by the wave action.
The program captures the excitement and drama of a discovery that military historians and archaeologists had thought impossible.
Right, that sounds great. That sounds as if you might be onto something there. Can you dig a bit more away and make sure?
Yes, there's definitely the entire engine. Yes, this looks like it.
Now I'm confident this plane is Captain Ito's one. There is no other plane crashed there.
Scientific detective work proves that it is indeed the Japanese spy plane.
It's exactly the same as this, right, and they're all the same like that.
From the relics of the spy plane come new insights into the often mythologised attack on Sydney
Oh
Harbour.
yes, coming up.
now.
Flip, coming up.
Oh boy, there it is.
It is engine, really engine. Yeah.
The film also investigates Japan's ill-fated submarine program. How seriously did the Japanese and Allied war planners take these undersea raiders? What impact did they have on Allied shipping? And how close did they come to severing the supply lines between Australia and the United States, and seriously altering the course of the Pacific War? After 60 years, the hunt for the Warrior finally reveals the fate of the mysterious spy plane incident over Sydney, one of the boldest episodes of the Second World War.
It's a wonderful story, really.